Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dhammaya, Namo Sanghaya. Welcome to our Dharma talk. Our main topic today is about the five aggregates. Who are you? The purpose of our topics on the five aggregates is to answer for you to know that who are you? Mean the topic is very close to yourself, and that is adopt that all the people in this world wish to know. Even you are a Buddhist or non-Buddhist. According to the early Buddhism, the five aggregates consist of forms or matters or rupa in Pali. Second, feeling, sensations, or vedana. Third, perceptions or sanya. Fourth, mental formations or sankhara. And the last one, consciousness or vinyanas. You know, form is human body. The rest, feeling, perceptions, mental formations, and consciousness are minds. So, for human lives or for a living beings, if we say in a short forms, is created by body and mind. If we say prudent, according to the Buddha teaching, it is the five aggregate. The Buddha taught we are non-self. We are compounded by body and mind, or the five aggregates. Now, basically, you got who you are, or you got the answers who you are. So, what is the aggregates of the form of the matters or of the human body? You know, our form or our body actually depends on the early Buddhist teaching. It is created by the great four elements. Those are earth, water, fire, and the wind. And the form always brings us both, that is, the benefits and the unbenefits, or we can say that always bring us the happiness and the unhappiness. In Bali we call kunna and tosa. Both of them are the cause of suffering, because if our eyes with pasas, with the line, to see a good pictures, our mind will cling on it. Those are the cause of suffering. It is also when our eyes see the bad things, mean that we feel not good with those signs. So it also causes unfamiliar or unhappiness. So both the good and the bad that bring to our life through our eyes best, it is the cause of suffering. Also all the best, like ears, like tongue, like body, and so on, it is the source, the primary source to bring us happy and unhappy, or kunna and tosa. The Buddha recognizes to detect on it. It means that, okay, we should not attach on it if we would like to be happy. And the next questions on the second aggregate, feeling. Feelings function to feel what is good and what is bad. It's very sensations. For example, when you feel happy and feel unhappy, that is a kind of feeling. Mean that is the functions of the second aggregate we call Vedana in Pali. And for the second, and for the third question, what is the third aggregate of perception? The perception, it does the function to remember all things you can put in your memory. Thus is the functions of perceptions, or sanya, in Pali. For the next, is the false aggregates of mental formation. You know, whenever you think, including the good and bad, in your mentals, this is happen. It's happened for the second, you know, for the every second, as every hours in your life, mostly kusala and akusala mind. Kusala is mean wholesome mind, and akusala is mean unwholesome mind. It's always appears and disappears between kusala and akusala mind in your mental. Like that, second by second, we call the sankhara. You know, as you know, when people keep silent, it doesn't mean that they say nothing. When people keep silence to listening to others, they think a lot. They say a lot in their mental minds or in their mental consciousness, because in Abhidharma, consciousness, it is mind. So, whenever one who thinks, including bad and good in their mind, in their mental mind, it means that their force aggregates are functioning. Mean that okay, the four aggregates are doing their duties. Okay. As for the last, the fifth of aggregates of consciousness, one again, in Abhidharma, the Buddha never mentions the minds or about the mind in the five aggregates. But the Buddha mentioned the word consciousness instead. So, the fifth aggregate is really a mind. The mind functions to know what is right and what is wrong. And it does its duty just knowing. Just knowing. So now you not only got who you are, but you also know the detail of who you are. I would summarize a little bit on who you are. You are just the five aggregates, or shortly, you just a human body and mind. Or I can say that you just a non-self. You know, even you have your own name, your own full name, like Mr. B, Mr. C. You know, Mr. B and Mr. C is just a name for calling. For the truth Dharma of who you are is not Mr. B or Mr. A, but it's just the five aggregates. It's just the grace element. It's just a, it's just a form. It's just a feeling. It's just a perception. It's just the mental formation, and it's just a consciousness. If you try to find Mr. A or Mr. B in yourself, I guarantee that you cannot find it, except the five aggregate, okay? And the details of the five aggregate, we have to accept that if without the five aggregate, we cannot, we don't have the source to find us happy or unhappy with it. And if without the five aggregate, we cannot feel good or bad. We cannot remember every necessary and unnecessary in our memory without the five aggregates. How can we know that what is the wholesome and unwholesome minds, or what is wholesome and unwholesome deed, right? So, those are the details of the five aggregate. Now, come to make sure why we should not cling on what the five aggregate bring to our really life. Why we should not attach to the five aggregate. You know, in Majjhima Nikaya, especially in the sutta number 109, okay? Sutta number 109, the Buddha said that the five aggregates are changeable. The five aggregates are impermanent. And the next, the Buddha also claimed that what is changeable or what is impermanent, that thing is suffering. Okay? It means that the thing changeable, the thing impermanent is the cause of suffering. And the five aggregates are changeable, are impermanent. So, the Buddha saw the solution on the five aggregates that the Buddha recognizes we should not. One who used to learn the Buddhist theory, one who used to practice Buddhist meditation, one who used to meet the wise man and learn about the theories of the five aggregates. We should live this life without attachment to ourselves. Once again, we should not live our life to attack ourselves. If we still attach to ourselves, for sure, the result or the outcome we get, it must be suffering. Suffering because of clinging on the form, the feeling, the perception, the mental formations, and consciousness. So, the purpose of our topic is to know who we are. And the goal of this topic may be, we can say that we should live this life to minimize ourselves, to minimize the five aggregates, and two, is if we live on this style of life, it means that we are living a life to minimize the suffering. The same thing, if we choose the life that we understand well, our life is non-self, it means that we live this life to maximize the non-self. This is the goal of Buddhism. Because the Buddhas say again and again in Abhidhamma also have, in Sutta also have, the Buddha said that the cause of suffering is the attachment on the five aggregates. The freedom ways, if we would like to get freedom from the 5 aggregates, it may be hard and also may be easiest. It's based on you yourself, that how much you understand on yourself, how much you understand who you are. If you just focus on your name for calling like Mr. B or Mr. A, you know, that is real but not real, because you come to this world when you first was born. You know, you don't have your own name. Your name that people call you Mr. B or Mr. A, you know, that is just the name that you got from your parent. Your parent name Mr. B or Mr. A for you to easy to recognize that who you are. That is, we call that it is a kind of worldly Dharma. It's not a kind of the truth, or it is not the kind of Paramatta Sakya. You yourself are the 5 aggregate. You yourself, the 5 aggregate, is the truth on the truth. You know, we may call that of the truth. Mean that always truth. Yeah. And this Dhamma, all the way to recognize who you are. The Buddha was taught to this world over 2067 years ago, and now it's still truth, and to the futures it's also still truth, because this is a kind of timeless teaching. In Bali we call Aggregates. It means that it's always truth. It's always truth on the timeless. We cannot adjust this truth by the time, by the past, the present, or by the futures. It's always truth, because it's the truth of the natural law. So whoever can follow these teachings of the 5 aggregates and can get freedom from it, those can live this life happily. The difference between one doesn't know and one knows of who they are, it just depends on we get happiness or unhappiness. For example, if you live this life to attach the 5 aggregates, Sure, your cell will face with a lot of problems in real life, and then lead you to the results of unhappiness. I think that if you know about this, no one wishes to gain it, right? We don't want to be an unhappy person in this life. Me too. And on the other side, if you know well, it's about the theories of the 5 aggregates, and then you can live with it without attachment on it. It means that you live with yourself, you live with the 5 agreements. It's on the detachment at the present moment and to the future. You will get the happiness. You will become a happy person. You know, it doesn't mean that it doesn't matter who you are now. But it is very important to change yourself, who you are to be in the future, right? Now, you know who you are. Now you know the 5 aggregates, especially the attachments on the 5 aggregates is the cause of suffering, because it's changeable, because it's impermanent, because it's go on the way that lead you to attacks on everything you have, even yourself and even everything around you. So you know it's well. You know it's well that mostly if we don't try to live is behind. If we don't try to cultivate your mindfulness, you don't try to develop your wisdom, you will have no ability to get freedom from the 5 aggregates. The 5 aggregates also the primary source, also the basics to cultivate your mindfulness, to cultivate your calm mind, to develop your wisdom. But with the condition, you must observe it. You must know what it is or what are they, and you must know how to digest or how to live with it in the right direction. In Buddhism, the Buddha takes us the 4 foundations of mindfulness take us the breathing in, breathing out meditation technique, take us the tranquility meditation, take us the insight meditation. Those methods, those techniques, we can apply is in our daily life to lead or to guide the 5 aggregates in the right directions or in the right way to approach the real happiness. The real happiness here in the early Buddhism we call Nibbana. That is the supreme happiness. This is Nibbana. This is the ends of all kinds of suffering. Whenever you live this life, detach on yourself, it means that you guide your life in the right way or in the right direction, and one day you will realize yourself, and you will be free from the 5 aggregates, or you will be free from the attachments of the 5 aggregates. It is also the highest goal in the early Buddhism. So, at the end of this topic, the 5 aggregates, with the purpose to tell who you are, is I would like to wish all of you be free from the attachments of the 5 aggregates, be free from suffering, be free from mental suffering, and living this life fully. Namo Buddhaya.